أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم هو الذي خلق السماوات والأرض في 6 أيام هو الذي خلق السماوات والأرض في 6 أيام ثم استوى على العرش يعلم ما يلج في الأرض وما يخرج منها وما ينزل من السماء وما يعرج فيها وهو معكم أينما كنتم والله بما تعملون بصير صدق الله العلي العظيم بسم الله محمد Dear brothers and sisters, very quickly we will review these 3-4 ayat. So far we have discussed the first 3 ayat of Surah Al-Hadid. It's chapter 57 and it's juz number 27 of Quran. 27वां para Surah Al-Hadid and chapter number 57. This ayat which I have recited in front of you, ayat number 4, is talking about creation of heavens and earth in 6 days by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That Allah is the one who has created or who had created heavens and earth in 6 days. Summa stawa alal arsh. No, this discussion is very, very complicated. Most of the people have misunderstood it. When it comes to creation of heavens and earth in 6 days, majority of people have thought that these are 6 days like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Like that. These are the 6 days. And that's what we see in Old Testament. In Torah, if you look at Torah in Old Testament, so you see that God created this heaven and earth and mentions day by day, and then on Sunday God rested. God had worked very tirelessly for those 6 days. On 7th day, God rested. And that's why Sunday is day of rest. While reality is that God didn't create this heaven and earth in 6 days like that. The word yawm in Arabic has many meanings. While it means a day of 24 hours, it also means a period of time. That period of time can be so small or it can be so big. Any amount of time, any period of time, any phase of time is also considered in Arabic as yawm. In the sayings of Amir Mu'mineen, we see that in Nahjul Balagha and other places where Mawla says that there are only 2 days in your life. A day for you and a day against you. This is how he explains the whole life. He says there are 2 days. One day when you are riding very high, things are all wifq murad, as you want, as you wish. Things are going as smooth as possible, and you are very happy. And then when things go wrong and you are disappointed, business doesn't go well, the health is not good, the family is also not cooperative, the friends are also abandoning, leaving, and you feel the downfall. So these are 2 days. And then Amirul Mu'mineen says that there is a proper way of living in these 2 days. Don't get arrogant when things are going fine, when things are well. Don't forget God. Don't forget that these are all bounties and blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't forget this. And when things go wrong, again, don't become hopeless from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't become disappointed. Don't become hopeless. These are tests, these are trials, and as those good days didn't remain there forever, these bad days will also not remain there forever. And they will change. So the Amirul Mu'mineen is dividing the entire life into 2 days. And then there are many other references which Mufassirin have quoted because it's a very short presentation. I don't want to bring all those examples, but in Arabic language, in books of tafsir, all those examples are mentioned that the word Yom doesn't mean every time only 1 day of 24 hours. Matter of fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He says He created heavens and earth in 6 days, it means He created in 6 phases, phase after phase. He created in one phase one piece of creation, and then He let it get settled and get ready for the second phase. And then He creates some other piece of creation and changes this creation to another mode, and then it is a second phase, and then it is a third phase, and then it is a fourth, and each phase can be phase of millions of years of our days. It can be millions and millions and millions of years of our time, and finally this whole universe which we are seeing, it was finally created and ready for Hazrat Insan to now come and live and have a life in this universe. Insan and Haywan were created much later. So first phases, so those other pieces of creation were created, and then at the end the animals, and then after animals comes Hazrat Insan. Even animals are senior than human being in being. So animals were created first, and then Insan was created. So first of all, what we need to understand, huwallazi khalaqas samawati wal arda fi sittate ayyam. This discussion that heaven and earth were created in 6 days, this came in Quran 7 times. In Quran, there are 7 places where this is mentioned, that Allah has created heavens and earth in 6 days. The first place when it was mentioned, it was Surah Al-Araf and ayat number 54, verse number 54 and Surah Al-Araf. And the last time when it was mentioned is this ayat. In between, there are other surahs and other places where this has been mentioned. So, first of all, what we need to clarify or clear our concept is that we don't go with that explanation of Torah, that meaning God created this universe and heaven and earth every day, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, something like that. Because there was no Monday yet. There was no Tuesday yet. There was no Wednesday yet. There was no Friday or Saturday or Sunday yet. You know this, the day of 24 hours, it comes in existence from the rotation of earth around its orbit. So when this earth rotates for 24 hours, then there is a whole 1 day is complete. So we are talking about creation of earth. The earth is not created yet. The sun is, the heavens are not created yet. There is no earth, there is no sun, there is no moon. So how come we can have that 24 hours day? So that is something which we need to be very clear on that. Many time, not only many time, I think it's a rule. These scriptures are always in a language which needs to be interpreted. When there are ayat of ahkam, those are mentioned in a different way. Even in the same Quran, when you read the ayat of ahkam, very clear, very simple. You read it, you translate, and you understand. But the ayat which are about ma'arif, about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ilahiyat, aqaid, kaun, kainat, and those ayat, they are not that easy to understand or to interpret. And many times in those ayat, words are mentioned in a way that you cannot translate them in a literal sense. For example, there is Yadullahi ala aydihim. Hand of Allah is upon their hand. So, now what does mean hand? If you will translate hand as a hand with 5 fingers, then you are talking about that Allah has physical body. Kullu man alayha fan wa yabqa wajhu rabbika dhul jalali wal ikram. You are talking about face of Allah. So does Allah have face? He has head? He has hand? No, he doesn't have. So you need to understand that these words are mentioned here for different meanings. You need to interpret them. The hand means, hand is a symbol of authority or power or possession, or its authority, its a power which is reflected by the hand. Face is a symbol which identifies a being of one's, meaning face mean the person, as if we have the word tahriru raqaba, that freeing of a neck. So you don't free only a neck, you free the whole slave. But the word is tahriru raqaba, freeing a neck. But it's not only neck. Neck represents the whole slave. The slave gets into slavery normally by tying, and they were used to tie by rope, and then they would used to drag him just like an animal. So you need to understand the background of the word. So this word sittate ayyam, 6 days or 6 phases. Phases of, we don't know, millions of years. Well, where Allah created one phase and then second, and in between there is a gap of many more time, and then the second and third. No, here is a question. Since we are not taking questions and answers in the interest of time of people, so I would just pose this question and make a comment, and then we will move forward. Was Allah able to create all this just with kun fayakun? Or he was not able to create, and he had to use 6 days? This was a much bigger job. It was a huge, bigger job. Allah couldn't do it in one go, and he had to work for 6 days, a hard labor, and then he would create. The answer is no. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could just wish it, will it, and could only say kun, and it was there. Allah had the power. But Allah chose this way of creating universe with creating it phase by phase. Phase by phase, actually when it is created, it shows more planning. It shows more sophistication. If something, for example, is done even without even you pay attention to it, and you go there and you wanted to see it and it is all done, you will not enjoy that. You will not be amazed. You will not be surprised. You just even, you won't think this was a big deal. For example, if somebody has done it just like that, kun fayakun, maybe it was not a big deal. It was very easy job. You will take it as granted. You know these doctors, I don't know, any doctor is sitting here among us? Dr. Bukhari is sitting, and Dr. Aqil is sitting here, and I think Dr. Yasmin is sitting here. These doctors, when you go to see them, many times you have seasonal symptoms. You know, most of the time here you enter in their office and they know, meaning what's problem with you. Oh, we have another doctor also sitting here. Dr. Mahtab is sitting in front of me, and maybe there are some other sisters. Yeah. So, doctors, they will know. Yeah, Dr. Noorani, mashallah, this is a gathering of doctors. Recite a salawat for all of them. So, they know most of the time that what's wrong with you. But here you go, and here they see you just sitting, entering, and they write the prescription for you, and then they say you go. Meaning, you won't be here as another doctor. So recite a salawat. Doctor. Yeah. So the patient would think that, oh, maybe he has not even paid any attention to me. He has not even bothered to ask me what's wrong with me. And then he has written down this prescription, and why he is charging me that much money for that? Only for 10 seconds? So, open your mouth and take these long breaths, and then they will put something on your back and something on your chest, and then they will look at your nails and they will look at your teeth, and then all, meaning that kind of stuff what they are doing. It's a very routine kind of thing, but at least after half an hour going through all that, now you feel doctor was very kind, doctor paid attention, he was very thorough in his examination, and then he listened to me, and I told him everything, and then he sat down, and then prescription and all that, and then it means that now $200 or whatever we pay, so it was justified. Yeah. Yeah. And many of our Maulanas, when we conduct nikah, the same is over there also. Nikah is only what we can conduct in 30 seconds. Just one ijab and one qabul, and that's it. But we keep saying and repeating and zawwajto and ankahto and this and that and khutbah, and at least you really feel that now you got married. and you are now truly husband and wife. And then also that you can give me a check. So I did some job for you. So without that, meaning if I would just do it within 10 seconds, then meaning first of all, really we are husband and wife? And then meaning, should we pay him that much? Yeah. So this is, my brothers and sisters, when things are done just like with the touch of button, first of all, they don't become important issues. People take them as granted. Nobody even pays attention to those. Nobody even appreciates that. Nobody looks into wisdom. And then doing something with the one touch of button, and then doing the whole thing step by step and going through a big plan, like engineering. You make a plan and then you execute this plan step by step, and then finally you produce that fine product. That shows actually more knowledge, more expertise, more might and more power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Recite a salawat. Yes, Allah could create it just with one cone, but He preferred this. There is also a lesson for us also. that sometimes we are so hasty that we want to do everything in one go. Some of us are people of that nature. We want to get results and get things done just with one command. In old language, in our Urdu, they were used to say, Hatheli pe sarson jamana. You know, Hatheli pe sarson jamana. It was just meaning getting things done just in one go and right away, instantly. So there is a lesson. Even Allah needs 6 days. Even Allah needs maybe those millions of years to complete a project. So you should also, if this project requires time, it's okay. Take your time, but do a good job. Take time, but do a good job. Complete it. Finish it. And that's what we have hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wa sallam. That whatever you do a solid job. Itqanul amr. Do a solid job. And don't rush so that half of is done and half is complete, half is incomplete, and you say, oh, it is done. No. So there is a lesson that things take time. And if Allah takes time, and there's nothing against Him, if you take time, it's fine. Take time, do things properly, and plan it, and then execute the plan. Fi sittati ayyams, no. This was one concept which we needed to clear. The second concept is also very misunderstood. Istiwa alal arsh. In Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has spoken about it many times. What does mean arsh? And then what does mean this istawa alal arsh? No. Among Muslims, there are some Muslims who believe in these things in literal sense. They will translate literally. They will say Allah has hand, Allah has eyes, Allah has face, but we don't know what kind of hand He has, we don't know what kind of face He has, but He has. Similarly, they will say Allah sits on arsh, but how He sits on arsh, we don't know. And kursi. No. But again, we are blessed with the teachers of Ahlul Bayt, from Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam to Imam Zaman. They explain to us that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not a physical entity. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not a physical entity. Why? He is not a physical entity. Because if Allah was made up from materials, then it means material has to exist before the existence of Allah. You want to make tea? You know that when you want to make tea, you need to have water first, and then you need to have some fire, you need to have a utensil, you need to have tea bag, you need to have sugar, you need to have milk. So these components, these elements have to be there first, and then you are going to make tea. So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a body, and body is a compound of those components, so then we need to have those components actually existing before the existence of Allah. The question is, who created those components? Then those are God. Actually, not the God is not God. Actually, those things are God. Who has created those? So the point is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not a physical entity. He is not a compound. Allah is not murakkab. Allah is not a compound. Allah is not made up from any physical material or from any kind of material. So when He is not, then does He need a place to sit down on or to recline? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not a physical entity which needs a throne or which needs a kursi or which needs a chair or which needs any of those things. Then, when Quran says arsh and when Quran says kursi, then what is the meaning of this kursi and what is the meaning of this arsh? So, first, the kursi is translated literally as a chair, which has those four or less or more, those what you call the pillars or the anchors or legs, and then there is a kursi. Arsh in Arabic language is called to that roof which is there, and this roof can be on a building, it can be just on a few pillars, and it is a roof. It resembles with throne. It's a kind of high place with certain legs, and then kings and those powerful people sit on throne. Actually, and what I'm quoting all this in the light of ahadith of Ahlul Bayt, but trying to save your time and giving you only the gist. What Ahlul Bayt have taught us, that this kursi and this arsh, both, are actually what we use the word in language isti'ara. Isti'ara, we use figuratively some words for certain other meaning. This kursi represents the authority. This is a fight for chair. They are all fighting for the chair. Nobody is fighting for the chair, you know that. They are fighting for the power, government. So there are two political parties, three political parties, or a few people at masjid sometime. They are fighting and having power struggle for chair. You say, oh, sara kursi ka jhagda hai. But what is kursi here? It's authority, it's a power. So this kursi is authority and power. It's not literally a kursi with 4 legs or 5 legs or 3 legs or whatever. Arsh is also a figurative term for the power, for the governance, and for the full authority. Throne, takht. Takht is again a symbol. The king has a takht. He has that throne. And meaning king has throne, yani king is actively in control of his kingdom. But when throne is stolen from him, they say takht chhin liya. They have taken this throne back from him. Basically, they have thrown him out and he is not in control of his kingdom anymore. He is not in power. So the word kursi or arsh both refer to basically the control and the power. Now, in this surah, particularly what we are watching, it started with Sabbaha lillahi ma fis samawati wal ard. These 6 ayat are trying to educate us about the authority of Allah and His attributes. Because Quraysh, the people in Quraysh or people in Ansar and the Arabs, they believed in Allah. Meaning they believed in Allah. They knew there is a Allah and He is the creator. But then their problem was they had misconceptions about His powers, His abilities, and His works and His authorities. They say there is an Allah, or there was an Allah who created this universe. We believe in that. But His job was only to create. Then He left it to these, they had certain entities, their idols and those devis and devatas and those kind of authorities, that then He delegated this universe to them to run the day-to-day affairs. Now they are the one that who are giving people risk, they are the one who are giving the rain, they are the one who are bringing fruits on the tree, they are the one who are giving us risk, they are the one who are giving us health, they are the one who are giving us life and death. So all this, the governance and this day-to-day running of the universe or this government, they delegated to those entities. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He says that if He took 6 days, meaning to create this, He didn't go through all this to create it and then abandon it and then leave it to others. No, summa istawa alal arsh, and then He took the full control of it. Then He took charge of it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created this universe, summa istawa alal arsh, and then He took charge of it. Then He took control of it. Then He started running it. Then He started managing it. So managing the universe, taking charge of the universe, taking control of the universe is istawa alal arsh. That is the meaning of istawa alal arsh. Now it's clear or not? Recite a salawat. Ji.
Could you also define a significant number of Shia? They also have same kind of belief, but not to the both, but to the other authority, the other Shia.
Yes, yeah, we have unfortunately a big number, not a small number of Shias. And then there are similarly in Sunnis, Sufis, on both branches of Islam, that who have somewhat that kind of thinking that Allah created and then He delegated to Muhammadu Ali Muhammad that now it is yours, you run it, you create, you cause the death, you divide the risk, you bring all this, meaning all the jobs and all the what you call governance and all the running of the affairs of this universe day to day. This is all in the hands of, in our opinion, meaning not our but our those Shias, they are Muhammadu Ali Muhammad who are doing it. For Sufis, these saints are doing it. Abdul Qadir Jilani is doing it, and Baba Farid is doing it, and Baba Data Ganj Bakhsh is doing it, and Kama Wali Sarkar and Khoten Wali Sarkar and Ghoden Wali Sarkar. So, meaning those Peer Fakirs, they are running it. But that is not the case. Quran is totally against that thing. Muhammadu Ali Muhammad, they have no business in running and managing or governing this world. Their knockers are doing it, and those who are their knockers and their servants, those are angels appointed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah is running this by, you have heard the names of angels. Jibreel has his job, Israfil has his job, Mikael has his job, angels of death are doing their job, angels who are working on this risk department and angels doing those things. Those angels are assigned and appointed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to work as He commands them and report back to Him what they are doing, and He is the one that who is watching over everything. Nobody else is doing this. Recite a salawat. So let's finish this ayat. I was thinking that I will cover 3 ayat, but هو الذي خلق السماوات والأرض في 6 أيام ثم استوى على العرش. Then they translated, then He sat down on arsh. Then, literally in easy words, in simple words is, then after creating this, He sat down on arsh. No, He didn't sit. Allah doesn't sit and Allah doesn't stand. He is not a physical entity. And He doesn't sit at one place and not being at the other place. So, basically He took charge of this. He took control of this. He took control of this whole kingdom. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about ya'lamu ma yaliju fil ard wa ma yakhruju minha. They would think that Allah is maybe sitting so far, too far. He is not seeing what is happening in each and every area of the world. That's why I need to go to my local saint. I need to go to entity and cry in front of him and tell him what I am going through. Maybe Allah is not watching. Allah is far away from me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya'lam ma yaliju fil arz wa ma yakhruju minha. Whatever, even small thing enters, goes in the earth, or it comes out from the earth, Allah knows it. There is nothing hidden from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anything happening anywhere. And you know, even just to go, I'm avoiding to get into details. There are billions and billions and billions of things which are going in earth or coming out from the earth. Just if you look at the insects, leave the vegetations and leave the other stuff, meaning the minerals and the water and the agriculture and whatever you can name it, billions of things, if not trillions. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows everything which is going down in the earth or it is coming out. وَمَا يَنزِلُ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ وَمَا يَعْرُجُ فِيهَا. And whatever is coming down from the heavens or it is going toward heavens, Allah knows each and everything and watches, and He knows all the details. So He doesn't need those mediators. He doesn't need those people to come and now be the God and Lord of people and talk to them or to run their affairs and be mediators between Allah and between makhluk. وَهُوَ مَعَكُمْ أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُمْ. And Allah is with you wherever you are. So never feel I am living so far away from Allah. There is no near and there is no far for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is above this near and far business. He is with you. So those other entities, they are not with you. But Allah is with you even in your privacies, even when you are alone, even when you are in desert, even when you are in farm, even when, no matter wherever you are, huwa ma'akum aynama kuntum wallahu bima ta'maluna basir. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows, watching whatever you are doing. So this ultimately, the conclusion of the ayat will be, this is all about authority of Allah and the knowledge of Allah. Authority, the power and the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the first three ayat also ultimately came that wal aziz al hakim, yarhamukumullah, mighty and the wise. Inna Allah ala kulli shay'in qadir. And then wa huwa bi kulli shay'in alim. And here also basir. So it's all consistent message. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Qadir, He is Alim, He is Aziz, He is Hakim, He is Basir. So you don't have to knock other doors. You don't have to go to other entities. You never think that you are, meaning in a time or in a situation where you are far away from Allah, so maybe Allah is not here to help you, you need to go to someone nearby, to someone else. Or maybe this is the time of rest of Allah. Huwa hayyu qayyum la ta'khudhuhu sinatun wa la nawm. Allah never rests. Allah never sleeps. Allah is always there, and He is hayyu qayyum, and He watches over. And when He knows everything, then He is the ultimate authority. And emphasis on that, lahu mulkus samawati wal ardh. The kingdom of heavens and earth, lahu. This lam, lahu in the beginning mean ikhtisas. Yani this is mukhtas, exclusive. It is exclusive property of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is, in Arabic, if you want to translate properly, exclusive property of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mulkus samawati wal arz wa ilallahi turja'ul umur. And all affairs are returned to Him. He is the ultimate authority. Everything comes from Him, everything returns to Him. He is the authority. And you should keep Him in the mind. And then, yulijul layla fil nahar wa yulijul nahara fil layl. Wa huwa alimun bidatis sudur. I am going to tell you one thing very beautiful as a gift, inshallah, just within 2-3 minutes at the end. After this ayat, there is a beautiful gift. And that is from Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam. So this ayat says, He is the one who makes night enter into the day and who makes day enter into the night. Wa huwa alimun bizati sudur is next point. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, again, His power and beauty of His power, and again His system of this order. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't create night or day or sunset or sunrise just like instantly. That you were working outside, you were busy, you were away, and all of a sudden when we turn down the switch and the light is all gone and you don't know what happened. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't do like that. After bringing this sun to the middle of the sky, then He starts bringing it slowly down. And before sunset and before bringing that darkness, there is enough time for you to prepare. Your body gets prepared, your eyesight gets prepared, your mind gets prepared. You put your things in order, you close your business, you close your shop, you bring your animals in, you cook, you eat, you do whatever you want to do. You know the night is falling in. And then what happens? It is the night. And again, while you are sleeping, it doesn't happen that when the time comes, all of a sudden you see the sun, with that big bright, no. You see again first the Fajr Kadhib, then you see Fajr Sadiq, then you see a little bit very small light coming in and very weak kind of small light, and then you see the redness on the horizon, and then you see the sun coming slowly up. So this is yulijul layla fil nahar wa yulijul nahara fil layl. And yeah, it's by design, and it is very helpful for our mind, for our sight, for our psyche, for our body, that we get prepared for the darkness of night and we get prepared for the light of the day. And this whole shows that Allah has knowledge and Allah has wisdom and Allah has power. And He is a wonderful creator. He is the one who has created such wonders. So, yeah, Musawwir is for designing, and this is about the creator creating. So, but again, the theme, it is the same theme. Yulijul layla fil nahar wa yulijul nahara fil layl wa huwa alimun bizatis sudur. And then it's not only that He knows these things. He knows He doesn't have any limits on His knowledge. Alimun bizatis sudur. He even knows those things which are in your hearts. In your hearts. So that is again emphasis on His ihata, on His being muhit, on His being in control, on His being in charge of everything. He is the one who has charge of zahir and batin. He is the one who has charge from earth to the heavens and whatever in between and whatever beneath earth and whatever is above the heavens, everything. And He knows everything what is in heart. We conclude here. A man came to Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam. And he said, Ya Ali, I want to request you, please teach me a dua which should have Isme A'azam in it. That when I use that dua, when I make that dua, I'm certain that this dua will be accepted. Teach me that dua. That which gets accepted from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Amirul Mu'mineen is now giving him that dua. Amirul Mu'mineen says, whenever you have such a hajat from Allah, that you are desperate and you want to get that hajat from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, recite these 6 ayat of Surah Al-Hadid, 6 ayat from beginning Sabbaha Lillah until this Bidhat Sudur wa huwa alimun Bidhat Sudur. First 6 ayat of Surah Al-Hadid, then the last 4 ayat of Surah Al-Hashr, last 4 verses of Surah Al-Hashr, 6 and 4, 10. After reciting these 10 ayat, say a salawat on Muhammad wa ale Muhammad, and then ask your hajat from Allah. Oh my Lord, I am desperately in need and I need this hajat from you. You have power on each and everything. You are Sahibul Arsh, you are Sahibul Kursi, you are man of, you are the entity, you are the one that who has the full knowledge and ability and everything. So I ask you this hajat. Amirul Mu'mineen says that you will get your hajat. So this is a gift for 6 ayat, first 6 ayat of Surah Al-Hadid, last 4 ayat of Surah Al-Hashr. And then after that is salawat. So it's now clear? Just one salawat, and then you make your dua. So for our sponsors of this beautiful program, and for all these brothers and sisters who are here with us, and today we have those very special ones also with us who have come here for i'tikaf. Those brothers and sisters who are here, we welcome them for i'tikaf, and we request them again now for dua for all of us and for everyone, and our families, our communities, all mareez, all marhum, and particularly the people of Palestine and those Muslim people everywhere. So please remember them in your du'as, and we will remember you in our du'as for marhumeen of sponsors and marhumeen of all brothers and sisters who are here with us. Recite Surah Mubarakah Fatiha masbukatan bis salawat. Assalamu alayka ya Rasulallah, Assalamu alayka ya Habiballah, Assalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Assalamu alayka mawla ya Aba Abdullah al-Husayn, Assalamu alayka wa ala jaddika wa abik.